under penalty of perjury that the testimony you're about to give is true, so help you God.
I did.
How many of Epstein's co-conspirators have you indicted? How many perpetrators are you even?
The Dow right now is over 50,000. I don't know why you're laughing. That's what we should be talking about. The Dow right now. S&P at almost 7,000. The American people need to know this. Need to know how is the Dow.
Let me address the survivors, because that's
how is the Dow.
Will you turn to the survivors? This is not about
how is the Dow.
Co-conspirators fully redacted. Who's responsible? Are you able to track it? The survivors gave testimony to the FBI. Files pulled from the website that we will never see. The DOJ released photos of victims. Didn't want to be known who released the names and redacted the men they implicate.
you're spending more resources arresting journalists than prosecuting critics. Your boss stated that this administration, quote, took the freedom of speech.
Come on, the Dow right now is over 50,000. I don't know why you're laughing. That's what we should be talking about. The Dow right now. S&P at almost 7,000. The American people need to know.
Is there another one playing in the background? I hear another one in the background playing. I don't know where it's from. Anyway, good morning. There it goes. It's over now. Where are we going? Here we go. What in the world's going on? Oh, that's why I got the Instagram. I can hear the Instagram on what's going on. Okay, so that's why. Never mind. Forgive me for that. So, yes, welcome everyone to Clown Planet News. Sorry for that inconvenient, whatever technical difficulties I had. I'm streaming on Instagram right now as well. So, usually it's muted. For some reason, it wasn't muted, so I could hear some feedback going on. Didn't know what was going on. 9:51 p.m., February 20th, 2026, Friday. Welcome to the weekend. Everything in a lot of things have happened in the last 24, 48 hours. Let's get right to it. Let's get to distraught family in Canada. Oh, Canada will kill you anytime. Euthanizes son, 26, who suffered from seasonal depression. A family has accused Canada's laws of killing disabled and vulnerable months after their son, who suffered from seasonal depression, died by assisted suicide. I don't know how many people know about seasonal depression. Keanu Vifayan, a 26-year-old blind man with type 1 diabetes, died in December using Canada's MAID program, Medical Assistance in Dying program, which allows patients with grievous and irremediable medical conditions to request a lethal drug. Eligibility was expanded in 2021 to include people with chronic illnesses, disabilities, and pending parliamentary review, potentially individuals with certain mental health conditions. Keanu faced mental health struggles stemming from a car accident at 17. And according to his mother, his depression often flared during the winter months, probably because he was inside all day. For years, the family had successfully prevented their son from using the program. Last year, however, Dr. Ellen Weeb, a MAID provider in British Columbia, approved Keanu's death, news the family only learned about days after. And some good news, post-fall, local good news, act locally and think locally. Post Falls, Idaho City Council votes to remove Juneteenth. Had a baby. Probably easy for them to do since there's 7 people on there look like they don't celebrate Juneteenth. Good on them. The Post Falls City Council on Tuesday approved the addition of a meeting invocation, removed Juneteenth as a city holiday, and added Columbus Day. The invocation and holiday action items were approved in 4-2 votes. Okay, with Samantha, Aaron, Jack Mosby, and Mark Luga voting yes, and Joe Malloy and Nathan Ziegler voting no. Ziegler's a guy right there. Who's the other one? Ziegler, Malloy. Let me see a Malloy. Probably that guy. Malloy said his concern is keeping the city safe fiscally and legally. Okay, whether one worships Christ, Buddha, or no God at all want roads that are well maintained and intersections that function efficiently. The vast majority of what the city government does is literally supported by everybody, regardless of ideology. I think the conservative approach as a city is to stay in our lane and stick to primary objectives. Yeah, celebrate Christmas. You don't do Juneteenth, which was started in Texas. Hawaii bills would allow government to quarantine people, enter property, seize firearms, and suspend laws. The Hawaii legislature is advancing companion legislation that would formally codify sweeping emergency powers for the governor and county officials, including authority to quarantine individuals, enter private property without consent, suspend laws, and seize control of infrastructure, under the justification of preparing for future disasters and disease outbreaks. House Bill 2236 and Senate Bill 2151, both titled Relating to Emergency Management, were introduced in January and February and are now moving forward through both chambers. The bill states that Hawaii Governor Josh Green may require the quarantine and segregation of persons who are affected with or believed to have been exposed to any infectious, communicable, or other disease. Man. Regular authority to regulate firearms and seize property. The bill states the governor regulate. Okay, can get that. Okay, so I'm trying to see if they go into what the state constitution says. Bottom line, we're locking a permanent Hawaii law. Okay, that at the same time, Congress overlap. Okay. Let's check out, just because I'm curious, Hawaii Constitution. It's very easy to do this, by the way. Constitution of the State of Hawaii. Bill of Rights, political powers, rights of citizens. No citizen should be disenfranchised or deprived of any rights or privileges secured by any citizen unless by the law of the land. So it already is a violation of Section 8. That's it for the Bill of Rights. Residents. Laws, for instance, because person's presence. Okay, registration, voting, speed limit, limits, legislation, legislator, term, vacancy, sessions, adjournment, bills enacted, passage of bills, impeachment, reappropriation, chief officer. Wow, you live in Hawaii, you don't have a Bill of Rights of anything. Local government, creation power, local self-government charter, education, Hawaiian affairs, board of trustees, code of ethics, revision amendment. Almost at the end. Term. Nope. Wow. That's the bill. That's the only Bill of Rights they got is two things. Section 1, Section 8. How come it seems like they skipped over a bunch of others? Section 8. Section 8. Where's Section 2 through 7? Section 8. There's got to be more than rights in one section. Let me see what that other link was. Just in case that was a... Yeah, there's a little bit more. Okay. This is Hawaii's Bill of Rights, political power, rights of citizens, equity of rights, freedom of religion, speech, assembly, petition, due process, equal protection, right to privacy, search and seizures, invasion of privacy. Okay, so that's a violation of Section 7. Excessive punishment, right to accuse, habeas corpus, and special laws. Right to bear arms, so it's a violation of Section 17. Somehow, somebody in Hawaii needs to go up, hey, that's a violation of the state constitution right there. Howdy from your token Byzantine. Oh, howdy from your Byzantine fan, trad Byzantine fan. I mean, we go to the Divine Liturgy almost every week. Definitely going Sunday. Anathema. The anathema liturgy is this weekend. If you know any Byzantine parishes around you guys, I'm speaking to everyone but Catholic Josh because he's going, I'm sure. If you haven't been to an anathema liturgy, go this Sunday. I promise you'll like it. It's cool. All right. Just in, Florida House voted 80-30 to abolish all property taxes for homeowners. Hey. Oh, wait. I don't have to clap myself. I found out, after years of doing this, that they have see what else. Oxford 15-minute city is now rationing driving. Residents get $100. Residents get 100 free days to drive through the city before a 70-pound daily fine kicks in, $93 US. Non-residents get 25 free days, all enforced by ALPR, which is their version of flock in a sense, and AI systems. I'm sure the identical surveillance systems popping up here are purely a coincidence. So again, when I tell all the guys, what are you going to do when all this stuff pops up? You're not going to be able to drive without getting fined or even being able to drive at all 30, 40 minutes away. Well, you need to know the free Oxford permit area resident permit allows 100 days of free travel through all 6 congestion charging locations during charging hours. You're limited to 1 permit. You can have up to 3 cars on your permit. You will be issued up to 3 permits for qualifying address. When any car on your permit travels through a congestion charge location for the first time in a day, 1 pass is deducted. If on the same day you travel through a congestion charge location and another car on your permit, a second day pass is deducted. How long you've got to make a change. You have 28 days from the date of service to pay the fine or make a formal challenge. The date of service is 2 working days after the post date on the front of the PCN, excluding weekdays and bank holidays. If you pay the fine within 14 days of the day of service, we will accept 50% of the 70-pound penalty charge, which is 35 pounds. Wow. Here's the link, and Jason says, he says in it, you will drive nowhere and like it. So here, this is from the temporary congestion charge permits. Apply for an Oxford permit area resident permit. Here's a story we talked about last week. Tennessee House passes bill challenging homosexual marriage. I'm glad LifeSite picked up on it a week after I did. A bill that passed the Tennessee House, Bill 68-424, would exempt banks, medical institutions, and other private entities from recognizing a purported marriage of same-sex individuals. Again, this is just saying, hey, we are nullifying this without saying the words nullification. This is a nullification bill. Don't say it now. This will probably go to the Supremes, but this is state rights. As it says right here, the overwhelming majority of Tennesseans already affirmed what we've known for all of history. Marriage is between one man, one woman. Both sources said in a press release referring to the Tennessee's 2006 Marriage Protection Amendment, which passed with 81% of the vote. Case closed, done. Catholic Manhood says, I was born and raised in Louisville, Kentucky. Louisville, not Louisville, Louisville. It's about 1.3 million people in the city. He's bringing up there's approximately 7,000 Muslims. Now I'm bringing this up. Why? Because of the fact of 1.3 million people in the city. In the city of Louisville, there's 1.3 million. In the entire Union, when the 13 colonies became 13 free and independent states, as if you read the Paris Treaty, if every state's put on the same level as England as a state country. In the entire Union of States, by the way, the State of the Union is on Tuesday, not the state of the country, not the state of the nation, the State of the Union. Still shows that it's a union of states. Argue me whatever you want. The doggone thing is coming up on Tuesday. It's literally called the State of the Union. Stop calling it a country when it's called the State of the Union. Anyways, the entire Union had 1 million people in the entire Union. And Jefferson thought it was too big to govern that. Someone said the state of Alabama has 1 million people. Louisville, Kentucky, according to Catholic Manhood, has over 1 million people in the blasted city. Translation, the city is too big to govern. Again, this is if you've seen the book, I published that book. It's censusfidelium.press, censusfideliumpress.com. It's the idol of the nation. The whole point of that is the show about at a scale and about how the Leviathan was supposed to, is this, we live in a Thomas Hobbes Leviathan world where the Leviathan is so big you can't get rid of it. Louisville is too big. The state of Kentucky is too big. Everything's too big. But we think one vote for one guy for 320 million people will fix anything. If we literally think that, we need our heads examined, because that's so far wrong. And you see everything, you sense it. You ever see it, or you see the fruits of it. Nothing ever gets done in your liking. I mean, again, you don't have Roe without centralization. You don't have Oberfeld without centralization. You don't have trannies doing all this nonsense without centralization. If you're for centralization, you have to be for everything that they're doing, because that's what they're doing. You get upset because the other team is taking control of the reins for the entire land, which is insane. Nobody in the right mind, but before 1870, nobody in their right mind would have thought that. But now we have elected rulers, hence the tariffs are coming up here. Here's one. John Stossel has this: you can lose access to your bank accounts for a protest in the government. It's already happened before. And he said, sadly, I'm not talking about China. Privacy expert Naomi Blackwell tells my producer, Kristen Tukovic, the U.S. is skyrocketing in that direction. There's very early. Stargate, day one of the Trump administration. He's over here saying, what? Yep, everyone's going to be, maybe if you're a good citizen, you'll be okay. We want everybody to be good because we'll be watching you. Anyway, check this one out. I want to play it. It's a Tara, but I bet that what the heck? I'll give it a shot. Let's see if anything happens.
Of that ease are dangerous. Privacy is not about hiding. It's about an individual's right to decide for themselves who gets access to their data. And what a digital ID will do is it will strip individuals of that choice.
A lot of countries are already imposing these digital IDs. You
judge.
have the UK, Australia, Switzerland.
Switzerland will introduce an electronic ID.
Is this the wave of the future?
This is the way of the entire globe, all moving towards centralized data hubs. That gets really scary for individual liberty.
I already have a government issued ID. Why is a digital one worse?
It connects everything, your financial decisions to your social media posts,
That's
to
what Snap's
your
doing. That's
likes,
what
to
the,
the things that you're watching,
Save
to the
Act is
places that you're
end up
going.
doing.
You won't be able to voice things anonymously online anymore. Everything you say will be tied back to who you are.
Governments do say they have a good reason for it.
The Prime Minister believes this is an important weapon in his armoury to tackle illegal immigration.
It's going to save us all and we'll be happier and we'll have rainbows and sunshine forever. And the problem is they end up being tools for control.
But digital ID backers say the new ID will make things easier for us.
It means that you can access your own money, make payments so much more easily.
These digital IDs would just be so convenient.
Really convenient until they're not. Until those services start saying, no, you can't use our system.
Hundreds of police officers moved in on protesters in Ottawa.
We've already seen governments do just that.
If your truck is being used in these protests, your corporate accounts will be frozen.
Even without a digital ID, Canada was able to punish truckers who protested COVID vaccine mandates.
They locked up my personal and trucking business accounts.
With a digital ID, politicians could do that much more easily.
You're essentially putting a giant target on every aspect of your life, bundling it all together, wrapping up in a nice bow and saying, here, if you want to control me, just untie this. That's essentially what a digital ID is.
Now, in the US,
you have states already voting to put permission slips in front of websites to say you need to provide government documentation before you can access this social media platform.
Now you need an ID to watch porn, but no ID to vote.
Proponents say this will protect kids.
Age verification is the best way to protect children from online harms.
Unfortunately, politicians just can't promise that it will only ever be used for that. You always have governments with these great sounding bills that are called the "let's stop all the bad people doing all the bad things" bill. And people say, well, I want to stop all the bad people doing all the bad things. But what they're voting for is a system of control and oppression.
Elites seem excited about this control.
It is very necessary for financial services. But not only, it's also good for school enrollment, it's also good for health, who actually got a vaccination or not.
All of the books you want to read and the things you want to eat and the places you want to go, all of this suddenly becomes part of a permissioned system. And you will be ranked based on past activities that you've undertaken and choices that you've made.
China already does that.
Everywhere she goes, Ouyang Haoyu is followed. What she buys, how she behaves, is tracked and scored.
Some Chinese people claim they like it.
I think being ranked is a good thing. It forces us to be well behaved.
If they're not,
the cinema names and shames people considered untrustworthy, plastering their details, even their addresses.
Guarantee I'd be on that scoreboard every day.
Those with low social credit scores can be denied entry into schools or lose access to travel.
He tried to buy a train ticket and was told he was banned from traveling.
Do we look like China? No.
It's a reason some Europeans resist these IDs.
Everybody knows that if you have all of your information in one place, then you are a slave. You have no freedom of privacy, no freedom of speech, no freedom of nothing.
It makes you super easy to target. It makes you super easy to silence if suddenly you become problematic. Whoever controls that data has a lot of power, and we're simply handing it to them. People need to be aware that they have no control over who will get access to this tool and who will control this tool in future.
Facebook, Google, Chase Bank, they already have my data. Shouldn't I trust my government more?
Governments, unlike companies, can throw you in jail.
You sound like a conspiracy theorist.
It's not conspiracy, it's already happening.
This is one of 30 arrests a day for social media posts.
In Great Britain, politicians already arrest people for speech they don't like. And sadly, the US is moving in that direction. All right, but this is America. We're not going to become China.
We are skyrocketing towards that direction. The surveillance infrastructure we're trying to put in place in the United States is heading directly towards where China currently is.
So what can we do about it?
People need to be reminded that they're empowered to actually affect that change. They can reach out to representatives. They can push back, protect themselves, and not build this infrastructure in the first place.
Exactly. Because once we hand politicians that power, they can use it for anything.
Now, I like we contact it local, but really, if they're doing it already, you got to be able to get involved yourself or find other people to do it. It's got to be, who said it best? I can't remember who was I think it was McClanahan that brought it up, saying that federalism is hard because you got to get active. You got to, many people got to be involved. You can't just get in and think one person's going to fix it all thing. No, you got to get people in the governor's seat. You got to get people in the state house. You got people in your local and state or your county and city. You got people on the scoreboard. You got to have mass enough people starting to get involved to be able to fix this stuff. It can't just be putting on Twitter or one person running. It's got to be a group effort. That's the problem. We don't want to do group effort. It's too hard. But if we want to win this thing, we got to get a lot of people to start talking about running in every office you can humanly think of to get in to stop this. You can stop it that way. We got to get people in. Got to get literally in your backyard and in your state house. Forget the DC. That's done. They're gone. It's not coming back. Supreme Court strikes down most of Trump's tariffs in a major blow to the president. The decision does not affect all of Trump's tariffs, but invalidates those implemented using an emergency law. Man, I wish I would have called Vegas up and seen what the odds were. Put $5 on. Guarantee, because I was going to bet that I thought SCOTUS was going to come through, was going to do this, but I thought they'd do all of it. I didn't know they'd just do the emergency ones. Apparently,
working about this. Yeah, Pamela, we still have no official reaction from the White House or President Trump. We are waiting. I am told that they are meeting, discussing how they are going to respond. But we have learned more about what happened in the room when President Trump was with those governors and he learned of the Supreme Court decision. Apparently, the breakfast had been going well. They were working together. And then President Trump became enraged. He started ranting about the decision, not only calling it a disgrace, but started attacking the courts, at one point saying these effing courts, but using the actual language there. We know that President Trump does use expletives on quite often when he is enraged in particular. Now, this, of course, comes as this tariff policy. This could not be a bigger decision for President Trump. This could not be a bigger loss for President Trump. Not only is so much of his economic agenda based on these tariffs, so much of his foreign policy is based on these tariffs. He has used these tariffs as leverage in almost every meeting that he has had around the world. He has touted them as the most important
it's not a good thing for him what he's doing.
Agenda. So
that's Congress's role. I know that's the
right,
new rules, but again, we want to be quote unquote conservatives and get the original ways. That's what they fought about back in the day, during Madison's time too. I mean, what do you think started the actual reason of the war for Southern independence was tariffs. Trump vows to use even stronger methods to keep his tariffs. I can destroy the country. Oh, that's cute. So he's going to hold us hostage. Oh, forgot I don't have the thing over here. You think I'm making this up? I can destroy the country, he says. Once the future king, President DJT raged during White House presser on Friday, addressing the SCOTUS decision, striking down his emergency tariffs. He doesn't like being told no. Trump vowed to use even stronger measures to keep his tariffs placed, rifling at one point that he has so many alternatives at his disposal, he can even destroy countries. Okay, so you're Napoleon. Is that what you wanted to be? I mean, so much for the peace president, so much for the board of peace. You don't go my way, I'll destroy you. That time out. U.S. tariff revenue at risk and Supreme Court ruling tops U.S. $175 billion Penn Warren estimates. By the way, they don't have the money because, as we mentioned before, they spent it or allocated to other things. So they got to raise it somehow. Oh, that's the comment. We'll be funding. We'll be paying for these. We'll be paying for it. Guarantee it will be taxpayer funded. Just like that $10 billion or $1 billion went to the Peace Board that ended up taxpayers are paying for that. Family of top Trump officials stands to make fortune from tariff ruling. Pure criminality. That's, by the way, that's good old Harry Lutnick. Well, once the future king president, DJT may very well be having his worst day in office at the SCOTUS. Ruled against his tariff policy. One of his top Trump officials stands to profit handsomely. We mentioned this a couple weeks ago from the court's decision. A potential payout that ignited a wave of outrage from critics, according to the report. Top Trump official and his Commerce Secretary and guy that plays on the opposite team, if you catch my drift, Howard Lutnick, who for 30 years led the financial services firm Cantor Fitzgerald as its CEO. Glad we don't have to swap into D.C. Trump administration last year. Lutnick has championed Trump's tariffs in public, but behind the scenes, his family-run firm has bet millions of dollars against them, Wired reported. Here's the White House putting out a tweet earlier. This is from effective immediately. The National Security Tariffs, Section 232, and existing tariff Section 301 tariffs remain in place and in full force in effect. Today, I will sign an order because I'm the emperor and elected monarch, just like the last guys were, to impose a 10% global tariff under Section 122 over and above our normal tariffs already being used. And what does that mean for you? Oh, the products that you buy will be more expensive. As they have said many times, if you don't believe it, it's because you either don't want to look at it or you're not even paying attention. They've said it's a tax on the regular people. Everybody knows this. Anybody with two working brain cells knows that when they put a tariff on products coming in, those prices get paid. Those prices go up for who? You. So you can say, hey, thanks, President Trump. Thank you for making everything more expensive. Everything's already expensive enough. Please make it more pricey. Eddie, you're getting uppity in there. What's up? You're telling me the U.S. Okay, it's not a political issue when we pay for their protection, for their health care and the innovation and science. And well, that shouldn't happen anyways. I don't know which. I mean, we pay for their protection, for their health care. What are you talking about? I mean, it shouldn't be going on. If businesses buy companies' products from overseas, fine. The U.S. government should be doing anything anyways. And they make bad faith trade deals taken from the U.S. Even China and Russia owe their life to the U.S. because without U.S. intervention in World War II, they wouldn't exist. I don't care. That should have been involved in World War II anyway. That was a false flag against and a lie, by the way. I mean, literally, FDR pretty much sacrificed everyone in Pearl Harbor, knowing that was going to happen because that was the only way to get us in World War II. I mean, anybody don't remember the photo of him sitting with Stalin? I mean, everyone gets upset at Hitler. Stalin? Come on. And for these countries who claim to be closest allies, to be greedy when asked for 10% is just insane. Again, we shouldn't be giving zero. That's how much should be given overseas. None. Nobody should be getting anything. Washington, everybody in those times warned of foreign entanglements. Do not get involved in them. People nowadays call everyone like this an isolationist. They call Dr. Paul that. They call everyone before that. Oh, you're a libertarian. No, but you go to the original founding where they weren't libertarians. They were just don't get involved in foreign entanglements. You inherit. I think it was JQ. Was it Q Adams? Was it Washington that said that you will inherit their enemies? Anyways. We're getting to the aliens, but you know what? The aliens are really in Minnesota. Those are the aliens that you're talking about. Anyway, here's Trump putting out a long tweet that he published earlier today to show you how ridiculous the opinion is, because that's presidential. The court said that I'm not allowed to charge even $1 to any country under IEEPA. I assume to protect other countries, not these United States. Those who says the United States, because everyone thinks it's one nation, which they should be interested in protecting. But he even used AI to write this. Ha ha. Because that's an M space right there. There's M spaces. Okay. How nonsensical is that? They are saying that I have the absolute right to license, but not the right to charge a license fee. What license have been ever issued without the right to charge a fee? But now the court has given me the unquestioned right to ban all sorts of things from coming to our country, and much more powerful right than many people thought we had. Our country is the hottest anywhere in the world, but now I am going in a different direction, which is even stronger than our original choice. It hasn't been that strong anyways, as Justice Kavanaugh wrote in his dissent. Although I firmly disagree with the court's holding today, the decision might not substantially constrain the president's ability to order tariffs going forward. That is because numerous other federal statutes authorize the president to impose tariffs and might justify most, if not all, of the tariffs issued in this case. Most statutes include, for example, the Trade Expansion Act of 1962. Notice you have to get in progressive times to get this. Regressive is another idea for communism. The Trade Act of 1974, sections 122, 201, 301, and the Tariff Act of 1930. Again, yeah, you're not going to find that in original intent. You have to be in the progressive area to make this thing work. Say anyone's top Jew. Okay, Peter Ducey. Well, we'll go ahead and let's go ahead and have Deuce speak or ask the question.
Billions.
Do you have to refund $175 billion?
Think of it, Peter. Very fair question. They take months and months to write an opinion, and they don't even discuss that point. We've taken in hundreds of billions of dollars, not millions, hundreds of billions of dollars. And so I said, well, what happens to all the money that we took in? It wasn't discussed. Wouldn't you think they would have put one sentence in there saying that keep the money or don't keep the money, right? I guess it has to get litigated for the next 2 years. So they write this terrible, defective decision, totally defective. It's almost like not written by smart people. And what they do, they don't even talk about that. Your question is very basic. That was the first question I asked also to make you feel good. He said, what about
Man,
all
the
the money
State of
that
the
we're
Union is
taking
going to
in?
be
Sir,
lit.
they don't discuss that. How crazy is that?
By the way, the State of Union is on Tuesday, and you know SCOTUS will be there. So will he call them stupid in front of their faces? Will be interesting to see that. Here's our Soros guy, by the way. You know, good old Scott Bessent. You know, Soros's right-hand man, and also plays on the opposite team.
In his tool. I would also like to take a moment to address today's Supreme Court ruling.
Remember, if you're a fan of him, you're a fan of. You okay with George Soros's right-hand man being in D.C.?
And I would note that I did not change a single word in my speech post the ruling. President Trump will always put our national security and Americans first. And as I have said before, the president has multiple tools in his toolbox. Let's be clear about what today's ruling was and what it wasn't. Despite the misplaced gloating from Democrats, ill-informed media outlets, and the very people who gutted our industrial base, the court did not rule against President Trump's tariffs. 6 justices simply ruled that IEPA authorities cannot be used to raise even $1 of revenue. This administration will invoke alternative legal authorities to replace the IEPA tariffs. We will be leveraging Section 232 and Section 301 tariff authorities that have been validated through thousands of legal challenges. Treasury's estimates show that the use of Section 122 authority, combined with potentially enhanced Section 232 and Section 301 tariffs, will result in virtually unchanged tariff revenue in 2026. And with
Let me play Brian McClanahan right here on tariffs and the Constitution. You know, that C word that people used to care about.
Learn about secession, learn about Alex review on iTunes for this podcast. Okay, all of that said, I'm really excited about the McClanahan Academy, by the way. I think it's going to be a great time for everyone who likes continuing education, and the future courses that I have planned are going to be just awesome. So if you're looking out for
what
that,
is the point?
You will get some emails about it if you're on my email list. All right. Well, I want to do something a little different today. And in fact, I'm going to read a few things. And these two particular talks,
that's why
neither
always,
one is very long.
keeps you on your toes,
One is actually quite long, but I'm only going to read parts of it. And I want to compare what these two individuals said about the Union, about the United States. And I'm not going to tell you who they are until the end of the podcast. But know that the issue at hand here in both cases was a tariff. So that might tip my hand a little bit, but show my hand and who these people are. But
100%.
the issue at hand is a tariff. And so when we talk about United
No, you're asking that question, JF. I'm sorry. Okay. The reason why is because I've been doing a news show for pretty much over almost a decade now. It's just funny that now all some people actually care about why I'm doing it. But I did the rundown for back in 2020. Nobody ever mentioned about why is this on Census Fidelium? The Clown Planet after that, no one cared about that part. Now all of a sudden I get this almost daily. Why is this associated with Census Fidelium? Because I want it to be. My channel. I put it on. So I want to do it. I want to put it on the channel and try to put the news with a little Catholic spin in it when I can, and get it out to the most people. I put it on a new channel. No one's going to watch it. Put it on the big channel. Why not? If no one wants to dig it, no one wants to listen to it, go to the next thing. I put out 6 videos today. Two Bible, two on the chapter of Genesis 10, one on Matthew 1. Nobody's looked at. No one's clicked on it. It's up to like 100 people. 2 saints of the day, Butlers and the Byzantine saint of the day. 3 sermons, maybe 4. I lost count. And always I always get people blasting me. Why are you putting this on? Go watch the other ones. Plenty to watch. You don't want to listen to me? Fine. I'm just bringing up news that you're not going to get pretty much all these other shows. So I didn't see your news just because you had it on another platform else. Yeah, see, Benedicta, she didn't see. I mean, you used to have news from the pew on another thing. Now I put it on here, it gets 3 or 4 times the views. So that's why. If I'm going to do it, I'm going to at least do it so that it's worth my time and effort, because I don't have a lot of time anyways.
States history, and this is something I often say in my classes, when we get
Yeah,
to
not hating on you. Good question. Thanks for asking. Not hating on you. But
1790s even, tariffs
why.
become important. In fact, George Mason was quite concerned about what he called navigation laws at the Philadelphia Convention. He was interested in having a constitutional amendment that would have prohibited navigation laws. And so what did he mean by navigation laws? Essentially, he's talking about tariffs. And so when you look at tariff legislation, it is one of the most important parts of American history, beginning really if you look at the founding period, tariffs, taxes on imports and exports were highly controversial even in the founding period, which led to some resentment toward the British Crown and Parliament. And then you get into the early founding period, and you talk about the United States government. You talk about the Constitution, the Articles of Confederation, and trade policy was also a big deal at that time. One of the issues that people had with the Articles of Confederation, this led to the Mount Vernon Conference before the Philadelphia Convention, was the fact that states could essentially enact tariffs against each other. So the idea was to have a free trade zone within the Union. And then, of course, moving forward, we have issues of tariffs, whether it's the issue of a tariff between the states, which were eliminated by the Constitution, or then foreign trade. Now, of course, the
JF, my bad. I apologize, ma'am. It doesn't. I can't tell. It says JF's Elson, so I had a 50-50 chance.
Constitution does not allow for taxes on exports. There are no export taxes, but it did not mean that you cannot have taxes on imports. But what were these taxes supposed to be like was the main question. Were these taxes allowed to be prohibitive, meaning were they allowed to be protective, where they would protect American manufacturers from foreign competition, or were they for revenue purposes only, meaning that it was there designed to raise revenue for the central government, and that was it? This was the main question. And of course, George Mason was suspicious that if the North was allowed to have the ability to tax, they would tax the South out of existence. This was the main contention when it came down to representation. It's why the South wanted to count slaves as one whole person towards representation in Congress, and why the North didn't want to count them at all. Because when it came down to direct taxes, we had some major disagreements between the North and the South. The South was highly concerned that the North would have too much power, that they would tax too much, and the South will be taxed out of existence. And
again, and check it out. This is a 30-minute episode. He does 3 shows a week. Very good. If you want to learn true history, as he says, true history is his website for it. Whereas the homeschooling program, get it. I mean, the Constitution at the time did not want to do this. Here's after Liberation Day, when tariffs were choking importers, Howard Lutnick's family's firm, or blah, blah, blah. We already saw that. Well, let's go ahead and play Howard. Says, might as well.
The Commerce Secretary Howard Lutnick was at the Supreme Court to watch the discussion today and joins us now. Sir, good to have you back on. What did you see today? What do you think? How do you think they're leaning?
Well, I think they're leaning toward the president. So what happened is General Sauer, our Solicitor General, was out first, and the justices were tough. Let's say they were asking them tough questions. But when the other side got up, wow, it was very, very strong. And so I left very upbeat and very positive. And I think these justices are going to come down in favor of the president's power.
That was 3 months ago that he brought that up. And as the tweet mentions, oops, wrong button. If those refunds pay out, every $100 they could put in could turn into $300 to $500. They said America's being defrauded by the administration. I would say Trump has a hand in it. I would not bet. He might play these mad because he didn't get it his way, but I bet he would. Howard didn't make this move without Trump knowing about it. Just not that pesky voting. No. I mean, Bill, to be honest, women couldn't vote either. That was across board. Slaves Slaves couldn't vote in either North or South. Governor Irondale in North Carolina, Iredell County is named after Governor Iredell. He argued for slaves to be counted as one because, quote, they are human beings made in the image and likeness of God who have a human soul. And they were looking to get, and afterwards, obviously, they were allowed to vote afterwards. And people in the South were already educated. You hear about the people educating things and, banned education. It was banned by the governments. The local people still taught people how to read, write, things like that. And I mean, if you look in the book, Defending Dixieland, and you'll read a history that's vastly different from what you've been told by state-approved education camps. Rand Paul, the Supreme Court makes plain what should have been obvious. The power to impose tariff is very clearly the branch of the power to tax. Opinion of the court. This is the power to impose tariffs is very clearly a branch of the taxing power, which is to the Congress. Gibbons versus Odin, 1824. A tariff, after all, is a tax levied on imported goods and services. They literally said this a couple months ago, too. Congressional Research Service, Casey, the U.S. Taft Paris's overview, and tariffs raise revenue. Westland Creamery Incorporated versus Healy, 1994. The defaming feature of a tax, U.S. versus Cowringer, 1953. Sonzinski versus U.S., 1937. The 10th Amendment Center, when President Trotsky speaks, pay attention. Let's go ahead. We'll play.
It even reads, but I am allowed to cut off any and all trade or business with that same country. In other words, I can destroy the trade. I can destroy the country. I'm even allowed to impose a foreign country destroying embargo. I can embargo. I can do anything I want, but I can't charge $1 because that's not what it says.
Look at Lutnick over there shaking his head.
And that's not the way it even reads. I can do anything I want to do to them, but I can't charge any money. So I'm allowed to destroy the country, but I can't charge them a little fee. I could give them a little 2-cent fee, but I cannot charge under any circumstances. I cannot charge them anything. Think of that. How ridiculous is that? I'm allowed to embargo them.
Not ridiculous.
I'm allowed to tell them you can't do business in the United States anymore. We want you out of here.
He's the president, not the executive, not the legislative. The legislature has that power. But again, we don't know our own history. We don't know our own laws. But yeah, look at Lutnick. Look at Lutnick standing there just shaking his head, knowing that he just cashed in. That's why I'm saying Trump has to have cashed in with them. There's no way that guy next to him is going to act like that, put on a front, and Trump not know that he did that play, and then Trump not get a piece of that action. Hey, no way that went down that way. He's either in on that, he won 2 tonight, or it was all made up. It's a lie, or he made some money off that tonight. There's no way Trump didn't make any money off this. Here's a 10th Amendment Center terrorist. This was the first debate over power under the Constitution. It wasn't about protectionism versus free trade. It was the dueling forms of intervention by Congress. Hamilton versus Madison and Jefferson. Here's the blog post. First debate was power, not trade. Again, all these right here, if you want to look at it, it's in the show notes. Underneath here is the link, goes right to the censusfidelium.com page. Click it. You'll see everything in chronological order. Share it with your friend. If you go to it here, I'll click it right here, show you what it looks like. You can play it all at the same time. Look at it. You can play the YouTube, all that. Here's all the show notes, everything like that. Just play. Here's the articles as a problem with the tariff in American economic history, 1787 and 1934. James Madison on the import and toolage duties. Madison of the first session of the first federal Congress. Why is this all important? He brings these up in this show. So like right there, here's import and punish duties right there. So everything he brings up is in the show notes underneath. Here's Thomas Massey. Some have asked me to comment on the SCOTUS ruling striking down tariffs based on emergencies declared by the executive. Why should I comment when Gorsuch has already nailed it right here? For those who think it's important for the nation to impose more tariffs, I understand that today's decision will be disappointing. All I can offer them is that most major decisions affecting the rights and responsibilities of the American people, including the duty to pay taxes and tariffs. My wife's just texted me up. Hold on. Just give me what we're looking at. Excuse me. Okay, back to everyone else. And yes, it can be tempting to bypass Congress when some pressing problem arises, but the deliberate nature of the legislative process was their deliberation tempers and pulse and compromise hammers disagreements into workable solutions. And because laws must earn such broad support to survive the legislative process, they tend to endure, allowing ordinary people to plan their lives in ways that they cannot when the rules shift from day to day. In all, the legislative process helps ensure each of us has a stake in the laws that govern us and in the nation's future. Again, we're not a nation. For some today, the weight of those virtues is apparent. For others, it may not be so obvious. But if history is any guide, the tables will turn and the day will come when those disappointed by today's result will appreciate this legislative process for the bulwark of liberty it is. And John Stossel, the Supreme Court must reject Trump's stupid tariffs. Good. Or just rejected. Tariffs kill jobs, reduce our choices, and raise prices. Yes. I interviewed one of the business owners who sued because remember, Costco was a big part of this. Yeah, you raise like I said, when you raise steel, companies raise steel, the prices go up. Everything's a price. Now, if you're Team Ag and you think you're getting do you get a cookie if your team does something? I don't know anybody that voted to go, yeah, we're winning, and you got a cookie or a T-shirt or anything for it. So, how's everybody doing in the chat? Let's see. The Credit Monitor International, not posted. Okay. Trump boys talk retribution as CEOs kiss the ring at their crypto event. DJTJ insists his father is not involved. Apparently, they had another crypto event in Mar-a-Lago on Wednesday. FCC's CAR urges broadcasters to air patriotic pro-American content. Now everyone should be singing Eminem. The FCC won't bother me. FCC Chairman Brandon Carr, blah, 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 to celebrate the 250th anniversary. It is important to reflect on the ideals and events that have defined our past while keeping an eye towards our country's bright future. Calling on broadcasters to pledge to provide programming that promotes civic education, national pride, and a shared history. By running public service announcements or specials devoted to civic education and U.S. history. Some kind of fiction. Peppering such historical content into news programming or including daily broadcasts, reciting the Socialist Pledge of Allegiance or playing the national anthem. The FCC said participation should also entail playing music from U.S. composers such as John Philip Sousa, Duke Ellington, and George Gershwin. Someone made a post on Twitter about this. Oh, so North Korea. Obama says aliens exist but are not kept in Area 51. Former U.S. President Barack Hussein Obama said in a February 14th on St. Valentine's Day podcast interview that aliens are real, but none of them are kept in Area 51, military base in the Nevada desert. Later adding that he didn't see any evidence and indicating that ETs have contacted Earth during his presidency. In an interview when asked, are aliens real? Obama replied, they're real, but I haven't seen them. And they're not being kept in Area 51. There's no underground facility. Unless there's some enormous conspiracy, and they hid it from the president of the United States, which they've never done before. Nothing like Bay of Pigs or anything like that. Nothing like that. You know, hey, president, it was a Cuba thing. What? They've hidden stuff from the presidents many times. And I'm not saying there's ETs running around. No, this is just a major distraction. But yeah, Obama became the first leader of the U.S. to affirm the existence of extraterrestrial life when questioned by progressive podcaster Brian T. Cohen in a video posted on YouTube. Here is Catherine Levitt, who takes a cross off when she wants, retweeting Donald Trump's Truth Social thing. Based on the tremendous interest shown, I will be directing the Secretary of War and other relevant departments and agencies to begin the process of identifying and releasing government files related to alien and extraterrestrial life, unidentified aerial phenomena, UAPs, which Hillary was talking about UAPs for a while, and unidentified flying objects, UFOs, and any and all other information connected to these highly complex but extremely interesting and important matters. God bless America. I put in the lecture that Father Ripper did on the alien deception and my interview with Daniel Connor on aliens, the gateway drug. This was from 6 months ago. Seth Meyers, we're just one Epstein story away from Trump announcing that UFOs are real. Get Epstein file. Hey, bring in the UFOs. Here's Trump actually has an alien speech. Again, that's why we do Clown Plan.
The president is accusing former President Barack Obama of revealing classified information when he told a podcaster aliens are real. Here's that Obama comment, and then President Trump responding to Peter Doocy today.
Are aliens real?
They're real, but I haven't seen them, and they're not being kept in what is it?
Area 51.
Area 51. There's no underground facility, unless there's this enormous conspiracy, and they hid it from the president of the United States.
Well, he gave classified information. He's not supposed to be doing that. You know?
So aliens are real.
Well, I don't know if they're real or not. I can tell you he gave classified information. He's not supposed to be doing that. Well, he made a big mistake. He took it out of classified information. No, I don't have an opinion on it. I never talk about it. A lot of people do. A lot of people believe it. Do you believe it, Peter?
Well, the president can declassify anything that he wants to. So if you want to make an announcement,
I may get him out of trouble by declassifying.
That raised a lot of eyebrows today. What are you hearing?
It has, absolutely, Brett. So at least one Hill Republican tonight is telling me that he is reading this as the president, all but confirming what Barack Obama said, that aliens are indeed real. So we followed up with the White House here. We asked them several questions. We wanted to know what part of Barack Obama's comments did the president feel were classified? Was it the part where he says that he believes in aliens, or was it the part that they were not in Area 51? They were also asked if the DOJ was going to look into these comments, perhaps because they were classified. The White House told us there's nothing to add to the president's comments tonight. Brett, all of this comes as the president's daughter-in-law, Lara Trump, told a podcast this week that the president has a speech prepared about extraterrestrial life that he will give at the right time. Listen.
We've kind of asked my father-in-law about this. We all want to know about the UFOs, or we all want to know what's going on. And he played a little coy with us. I have just heard kind of around that. I think he's actually said, I think my father-in-law's actually said it, that there is some speech that he has that I guess at the right time, and I don't know when the right time is, he's going to break out and talk about, and it has to do with maybe some sort of extraterrestrial life.
And Brett, the White House press secretary, Caroline Leavitt, you'll remember this week, was asked about Lara Trump's comments, and she said a speech on aliens would be news to me, but we are expecting more reaction from the Hill in the coming hours and days. Brett.
Obviously, we've done a lot of stories on this.
Yeah. I said, clown world. Mel Gibson consulting with excommunicated archbishop who once called Pope Francis a servant of Satan for resurrection of Christ. Yeah, it's all over the place right now. Vigano. Oh yeah, here's a Huckabee thing. How do we know Bibi's ancestors ever lived here? How do you know they didn't? Tucker Carlson presses Mike Huckabee on how modern Israelis can claim ancestral connection to Israel. Huckabee speaks to Tucker about what lands Israel has a right to. It includes Levant, Jordan, Syria, Lebanon, parts of Saudi Arabia, and Iraq. This is the Zionist portion of the program here. Tucker, do you see why the U.S. ambassador hosting a convicted betrayer of his own country who is encouraging Americans to continue to betray their country, which seems shocking? Huckabee, you make it sound like I'm hosting a meeting. I simply met with him. I meet with people all the time. Carlson, they can just walk in without a Huckabee. No, they have to have an appointment. Of course they do. Carlson, so it is hosting him then, I think. Huckabee, well, I don't know if it's hosting, but it was certainly he was able to come to the U.S. Embassy and have a meeting at his request. I did, and frankly, I don't regret it. Mel says the favorite part about this clip is how Huckabee doesn't deny any of Tucker's characterizations of Pollard. He's like, yeah, he's a traitor, and he's actually encouraging other Jews to betray America. But I feel like you're getting a little too literal with the word hosting. Here's Mike Huckabee more on him. Not even a penny should Israel give to rebuild Gaza. There ought to be reparations for most favored nation. And here's Glenn Beck talking about, Glenn just said God allegedly revealed to him the reason he is alive. The reason, you ask? To stand with the Jews and people of Israel. Modern Christian Zionism is a cancerous false ideology that must be eradicated from society. He literally said he was pretty much brought on earth to do this. I mean, I'm sparing you the Beck going in. He'll probably cry in the middle of it. Now, here's a little bit of the Epstein fallout across the world. Peter Mandelson steps down from the House of Lords, but he still has his title. Trump ordering release of secret alien files could be a distraction from controversies. I should have had this earlier. My bad. But it is. Epstein revelations stir chaos from Scandinavia to South Asia. Dubai's DP world boss removed from post after pressure over Epstein. Rick and I joke going, that guy looks like he should be on the cover of the Epstein case. Norwegian diplomat who negotiated Oslo Accords resigns over Epstein ties. Goldman Sachs rumor as Epstein scandal claims Obama's former lawyer. What do Clinton, Obama, Rice, Epstein, Rothschilds, and Goldman Sachs all have in common? Kathy Rumler. And Thomas Massey quotes, number of arrests. You're welcome. 00000. Hey, we got 1 0. But wait. Just one tiddlywink. Andrew Mulbon Windsor, who was arrested, he was that one, is released from police custody about 12 hours later. So it's back to 0. Update, police released statement that Andrew has been released under investigation. That's it. That's the one. Him. That's it. 86-year-old Pennsylvania farmer refuses to turn his fields into an AI data center, even for $15 million. Good on him. Mervyn was offered $60,000 per acre, but refused to destroy the farms he's been running for over 60 years. Instead, he sold development rights to a conservation fund for $2 million. The land will stay farmland forever. Good on you, sir. Herman. Need more people like you, because everyone else down here has been selling out. The entire county to north and west here pretty much went like where everyone was going in. It'd be hard to turn out 15 million. Hyatt executive chairman Thomas Pritzker resigns over Epstein ties. And it's really been over there with the other guys. In health, I know I'm coughing. Kennedy defends Trump glyphosate order. MAHA erupts as midterms approach. Health and Human Services Secretary RFKJ defended once the future king President DJT's executive order spurring the domestic production of glyphosate. Because before Trump was against it, now he's signing an executive order for it. The MAHA coalition, which contributed to Trump's victory in 2024, is reeling over the executive order. Executive orders are an abuse of power, by the way. The moves risk splintering Trump's MAHA support in the lead up to the 2026 midterm selections. Did I say selections? Here's Catherine Austin Fitz. How's that for an old switcheroo?
We're joining forces to defeat government corruption, restore free speech, and make America healthy again. We're going to make America healthy again, you know? We're a nation that is not doing well in a lot of ways, and we're not doing so well with health, but we're going to solve a lot of those problems, I think, over the next short period of time. A lot of it's common. A lot of that's common sense, too. It's all common sense when you get right down to it, but we're getting
Trump 2024, we're going to get rid of toxic chemicals out of our food supply. Trump 2026, glyphosate is critical to national security. New executive order doubles down on the same system that bankrupted farmers, monopolized the food supply under control of a few multinational corporations, and contaminated America's food supply. We cannot eliminate glyphosate overnight, but we should be taking steps to reform this broken system, not doubling down on it. The fact that U.S. ag has become so reliant on glyphosate should scare us into immediate dramatic reform of our food system. Trump's declaration of glyphosate-based herbicides are a cornerstone to this nation's agricultural production and rural economy, exposes deep structural problems in our food system. Over our reliance on chemicals and herbicides, yes, because a lot of those herbs are good, to produce more and more commodity crops is bankrupting our farmers and rural America. Again, grow your own food. This broken system is the reason why our crisis over 60 farmers go out of business every day, and the rest require constant federal bailouts just to survive. Trump also claimed as EO that glyphosate-based herbicides allow farmers and ranchers to maintain high yields and low production costs, but the opposite is true. Farmers have lower production costs and higher profits when they reduce or eliminate their use of glyphosate and other herbicides. Speaking of which, I got a couple things sprouting already. I got some gooseberries in the seed tray, a couple melons, tobacco, moringa. I can't remember what else I put in there. A couple of them are growing pretty good right now. They've only been in there 2 days. They're already got about an inch tall. I'm proud of that. Here's today. Here's from 2016. Another shocking study finds glyphosate present in childhood vaccines. It's also in foods all over the place. Children's Health Defense. Unprocessed foods now make up roughly half of the U.S. calories and about 60% of children's diets. Kennedy said companies have used grass to add thousands upon thousands of ingredients into the food supply without federal oversight. Quote, this agency does not know how many ingredients there are in American food. The estimate is between 40 and 10,000, 4,000 and 10,000. We have no idea what they are. Man. That's why you look on the side. If you go to a grocery store, look at what the ingredients are. It's usually like 30 different things. Now, Rob Snyder, President Trump should not give immunity to companies that give cancer to Americans. Thomas Massey, this week I introduced a no immunity to glyphosate act to undo the recent executive order which promotes glyphosate Roundup and insulates manufacturers from liability. The cancerous cause in Roundup that you see people buying all the time to kill dandelions. Guess what dandelions do? They help prevent cancer. So we're spraying cancerous causing material on a food that stops cancer. We have lost our minds. We wonder why everything is so bad. We're so backwards on this. Everyone wants the perfect garden, which is nothing. It's unedible. It's just green. It's worthless. A real garden a real front yard should have color or flowers that you can eat. Fruits, veggies, things like that. Beautiful things with flowers and where you got bees and pollinators all over the place. No, we just want grass that's an inch tall. Pay a lot of money for it. It's just dumb. Personal records indicate Trump's top pesticide policy official was Kyle Kuckner, the former pro-pesticide lobbyist. In 2020, Kuckner won the Rising Star Award from the Pesticide Industries Trade Group. Trump has signed an executive order to increase production of glyphosate, a weed killer that thoughts cause cancer. You know how many quote unquote weeds are out there that are so good for you that we just kill? I mean, I threw a bunch of seeds down a couple months ago. Here's where's my land? Lamb's quarter right here. I threw some lamb's quarter down and just threw it in the corner of the yard here. And I got a ton of all these things right here. But just to see, I can't wait to get my own place. I'm gonna have this stuff all over the place. It would be beautiful. But no, we pay money to kill things around. Florida Surgeon General just blew up the no glyphosate food equals food collapse talking point. His message is simple. Feeding people doesn't require poisoning them. We grew food for centuries without it. Chemical dependence isn't destiny. It's a choice. Good. And it's talking about glyphosate used on weeds found on bread. MAHA moms turn against Trump. Women feel like they were lied to. Yeah, because this was a big thing. They were against. They were against all this. I mean, the Roundup and glyphosate was a big thing in the first go round. Now we're in War Pigs edition. The new U.S. blockade is strangling Cuba. The analysis of ships' movements shows that Trump administration is isolating the island at once one of its most vulnerable movements. Let me go ahead and get the War Pigs right quick. Generals singing in their masses, just like witches at black masses. Up to 20,000 remain at large from Syria ISIS camp. Trump threatens Iran war at board of peace meet. That's because war is peace, 1984. U.S. to build major military base in Gaza. Settlers kill Palestinian American in West Bank. Head of U.S. Southern Command visits Venezuela. U.S. launches 36th airstrike of the year in Somalia. Wow, it was just like 32 the other day. They're going to break that record. I said they're going to destroy that record. In sports, ESPN plans to replace summer's Sunday Night Baseball with Women's Sports Sunday. A new host spotlight, top matchups from WNBA and NWSL. I don't know what NWSL is. Executives believe the block could become a new franchise because they probably were drinking Roundup at the time. U.S. Olympic free skier Hess embraces loser tag after Trump blast. Trump got mad at him for saying he was a real loser. And guys say he didn't like what's going on in the U.S. Okay, he can't. Apparently you can't say that. You have to love your government at all costs. Team Canada women's hockey team handed stuffed animals while on the ice after losing to Team USA in overtime. The women didn't look too thrilled as they were being handed a stuffed animal named Tina, who was the official mascot of the 2026 Winter Olympics. Brutal. I would have thrown it. There's like, get out of here with that. What am I, 5? Here's the medal counts. Norway's at 37. U.S. went up to 28. Italy's at 27. Again, Italy's the size of California, and they have as many medals as the entire continent. The entire union, the U.S. If again, you put Italy, Netherlands, Germany, France, Switzerland, Sweden, Austria, all those guys in together in the EU, they're up to what? 100? It'd be blowing it out. This day in history, 1839, Congress bans dueling in Washington, D.C. The church banned dueling. It was a great, oh man. If you look at Dr. Alan Finister and I did a thing on every council of the church. It was one of the middle councils. I can't remember which one it was, but it banned dueling too long ago, long before DC did. On this day in 1839, Congress made dueling in DC a felony, punishable to 10 years in hard labor. 2016, Cyclone Winston made a second landfall on Fiji's principal island of Vita Louis, causing widespread damage. 2005, Hunter S. Thompson, who created a genre known as gonzo journalism, died in a self-inflicted gunshot wound. 1986, the Soviet Union launched the core module in the space station Mir. 1976, Southeast Asia Treaty Organization held its final exercise in Manila. Fight the Thriller in Manila. That wasn't the Thriller in Manila, but it was just the thought about it. 1962, John Glenn Jr. became the first American to orbit Earth. 1943, after several weeks of earthquakes, the volcano Paracuden in Mexico began erupting. No deaths were recorded. In 1929, U.S. Congress formally accepted the deeds of secession secession and cession of Eastern Samoa, forming American Samoa. They should secede. 1909, Italian author Filippo Tommaso Marinetti coined the term futurism in the Parisian newspaper La Figaro. The term captured the vitality and restlessness of modern world. 1902, Ansel Adams, one of the foremost landscape photographers in the 20th century, was born in San Francisco. 1872, the Metropolitan Museum of Art in New York City. New York City. Yes, in New York City, open to the public. So there you go. You feel schizophrenic? I'm trying to hurry because it's already at an hour and 15 minutes. So I'm trying to push it forward a little bit. Oh, why didn't you guys tell me I didn't have the thing on? My apologies. Man, you guys missed out on all that. Okay, so that was it right there. Where was that? Oh, that was it right there. Glyphosate. Sorry. So this was the links I was reading from. My apologies. And I don't even pay attention sometimes to the chat. Yeah, did anybody even bring it up? No. Yeah, here's the links I was reading from the Thomas Massey thing. So that's probably why you guys were all confused on that. I was messing you guys up. Mea culpa. There's the Florida Surgeon General talking about no glyphosate in the food collapse. New York Times, MAHA moms. Antiwar.com. That's where I was reading from right there. If anybody was confused, my apologies. The ESPN thing right here. Olympic news. Here's the teddy bears being handed out to the Team Canada. Medal counts. And this week in history. Sorry, my apologies on that. Am I hurt? No, man, I'm good. It's just I try to explain. It gets tiring after a while to waste time to talk about it. But hey, I do it. It is fun for me. I like this I like this stuff. And I'm glad you guys care about it to come in. Just only thing I want you guys to do is just, send the link, remember this stuff. If you see anybody talking about, hey, why are they doing Greenland, the North American technique? Steve's talking about it over here. Here's the links. JF, no, you weren't going nuts. My bad. What happens is in StreamYard, to play sound from a link, I have to disconnect that what you're seeing, put it back up, but click on just that screen. And I might forget, to do it. I've done it a couple times. I have to go back down, click that off, and then re-put the whole thing up so I can go through all the different tabs. And I just forgot. So my apologies. Anyways, yes, the news always moves too fast anymore. And this Friday night, I was going to hang out with the wife for a little bit. That's why I'm kind of moving a little bit quicker. I could easily done a 2-hour show easily. But anyways, you guys have a great weekend. See you Monday for, what do we call it? Black Pill Monday? Yeah, someone said that. This is not AI because I can't pronounce everything correctly and I screw that stuff up. So anyways, yeah, click, like, subscribe, all that jazz below. See you Monday for Black Pill Monday. I'm debating doing something for the State of the Union. I might see if I can get somebody to come on with me we'll talk. I don't know. I usually never watch those things. I'll see the clips afterwards. Anyways, have a great rest of the weekend. Happy first Sunday of Lent coming up. What else? Yeah, like I said, if you know a Byzantine parish down the street from you, go check that out for the anathema, the Triumph of Orthodoxy. When they triumph, they win beat the iconoclast, and the anathema liturgies is great. And see you then. God bless. Take care.